Hello and welcome to Bridgnorth Locomotive Yard at the Severn Valley Railway, where the excitement's building. We're about to announce the VIP guests for our Spring Steam Up special event, which is going to be held between the 15th and the 18th of April. You can get tickets now at svr.co.uk. The Spring Steam Up is featuring men of the home fleet, including the Flying Pig, which is behind me, 2857, 813, Tor Valley, they're all in it. But there is something rather special. We've got a treat in store for you, and we'll be finding out about that just very soon. Just a couple of teaser facts about this locomotive. It's the 78th of its type to be built. It weighs more than 70 tonnes, and its barrel is 14 feet 10 inches long. Any ideas? Okay, we'll find out very soon because I'm joined by Helen Smith. She's the General Manager of the Severn Valley Railway. Helen, before you give us the name of the guest locomotive, tell me what are your feelings about having this particular one?
We're really excited about this. This is something that's been coming into fruition for the last year. We wanted to do it before, but obviously COVID has stopped us doing it. So really excited. It's quite a coup for the railway to get this locomotive as a visitor. So we're very, very excited about it.
Okay, the moment is here. Can you please tell us, Helen, the name of the guest locomotive for Spring Steam Up?
It is 2999, the Lady of Legend.
Wow, that's the reconstructed Saint class, and it's coming from the Didcot Railway Centre. A real coup because it's the first time this locomotive has ever been seen away from Didcot. Organising an event like the Spring Steam Up, Helen, we've got to do it a bit differently. Just tell me about some of the things that you've made sure are happening to make it safe for everybody.
Well, as everybody knows, we don't know what's going to happen yet, do we? So we've done the event very, very carefully. All the social distancing that we learnt last year has been incorporated into running this very much reduced event. So you will be in your own private compartment, and you'll be hauled behind different engines throughout the day. So it's a very, very safe, COVID friendly event to make sure that everybody can enjoy, all the enthusiasts can come back to the railway and enjoy something that we're not able to do last year. So we wanted to put something special on for our steam enthusiasts, and this is a really fantastic way to start the year.
And because we don't know what's quite happening, we're backing everything with a guarantee as well.
We are, yes, yeah, just because it's still uncertain. So we are saying that if we can't go ahead with it for whatever reason, then you can get a full refund, and we'll have a look at what we can do later in the year. I think everybody's struggling to know what's going to happen in the future, but I think we've gone at it as positively as we can because we want to get back reopen again, and we want to welcome people to the railway. That's why we're here.
Well, Helen, thank you very much indeed, and I'm just going to go and talk to one of the people who's been around the railway since, well, I don't know when, since the 1960s, one of the railway's founding fathers, Columb Howell. I think, because you told me, I'm not just guessing this, that you actually saw the Saint class in action on the main line way back in the day.
I did. I saw one at Kidderminster, very close, and that was St David, which should have been preserved, and also Claverton Court and various other Croom Court. They were lovely names, they're named after all the various households that were in that area. Hampton Court, all sorts of things, and the great families. And I loved watching these absolute thoroughbred engines.
Well, of course, the first Saint entered service in the early days of the 20th century, and it did herald quite a change in thinking about railway engineering and how locomotives were being designed. So just tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, of course, Churchwood followed on to William Dean, who had done a lot to modernise the railways, but Churchwood was a bit of a fanatic. He wanted to make his mark on everything, and he certainly did. He redesigned the engines, and various engines that he designed were most successful, and he really did put some speed in the job when he did it. It was not always the most comfortable thing to ride on, but the Saint was a thoroughbred. And when they got going and picked their heels up, you knew about it. There wasn't much room on the footplate, I can tell you, for an inspector, because the cabs are a bit sparse. And if you look at 2857, you'll see it's cut away. It also has a pole reverser. I haven't looked at this one to see whether it's a pole or not, and we'll have to go and have a look at it in a minute. But I think it's a marvellous thing. I think Didcot have done a brilliant job. There is a bit of a history with the name of Lady of Legend, because there's a sort of Arthurian business of the knights in Tintagel, and it is a legend. and we've got a legend here. And I'm sure when people come to see it, they'll love it. I hope I'm going to be allowed to drive, although I'm a retired man. I'm sure with a competent driver behind me, I can show it the way to Bridgnorth and back.
Well, the Severn Valley Railway has been running steam engines for so long now. I mean, what does it feel like for you now to see something, the only one of its type, the only Saint class in existence, come here in April?
Incredible. I would never have believed it, because actually there's a bit of a connotation with me wearing, you might wonder why I'm wearing this, Hagley Hall. The saints were the forerunners of the hall, and all the bits, this is another good thing Churchwood did, he made interchangeable parts, which was so marvellous for the economy of a shed.
Oh, that's marvellous. Well, Column, thank you very much indeed now. And for those just joining us, we're in the locomotive yard at Bridgnorth. We're making the special announcement that our VIP guest at the spring steam up is going to be £29.99 Lady of Legend, coming to us from the Didcot Railway Centre at the Severn Valley Railway. It's going to be fantastic. The spring steam up takes place between the 15th and the 18th of April, and you can get your tickets now at sbr.co.uk. Now, in a moment, I'll be talking to one of the engineers who'll be looking after Lady of Legend when it comes here. But first of all, I'm joined by Paul Fathers. Now, Paul is another of the founding fathers of the Severn Valley Railway, and one of our team of volunteer locomotive drivers. So, Paul, what does it mean to you to have Lady of Legend coming to us?
Well, we're really privileged to have the Loco coming here. It's the first time it'll be out from Didcot, who spent over £800,000 in producing this Loco, and it's particularly significant because it represents a class of Loco that developed the Great Western practice at the turn of the century, the last century, and set the standards for locomotive production, both on the Great Western Railway and on other railways and throughout the world, so really important to us.
So this one had to be rebuilt from different parts of different locomotives. Why did none of them survive?
The last one was cut up in 1953. They'd been produced from 1903 onwards, and there were almost 70, just over 70 in fact, that were produced of that particular class. The various modifications were made to them towards the end of their life, and that resulted in the Hall class locomotive. So they really set the trend for future developments of locomotive practice. But they had a good life, they performed extremely well, and various modifications such as reducing the size of the driving wheels meant that they were more useful as Hall class locomotives. So they were worn out effectively towards the end of their life.
They look completely different to the kind of locomotives that had gone before, didn't they? I mean, everything was on show with the Saint.
They were. When they came out, they were quite revolutionary. A lot of angled lines, tapered boilers, so compared to what had gone before, they looked quite ugly. In fact, there was somebody from Wolverhampton, a local man, Harold Holcroft, who was promoted to go down to Swindon from the Wolverhampton works at Stafford Road, which had built most of the Great Western standard gauge locomotives. And he carried out a number of modifications to the class after the one that Lady of Legend represents, to make them more aesthetically pleasing, and those are the locomotives that we tend to see now. So it's important that that class of loco should be represented, and we're really pleased to have it here.
Well, we can't wait to see Lady of Legend when it arrives here. Thank you so much, Paul. And just another little interesting bit of information about Lady of Legend. Its name was actually chosen in a competition held by the Great Western Society, and some of the other suggestions included Lady Diana, Phoenix and Prince Charles. I think they got it right with Lady of Legend, don't you? Its number 2999 is accurate as well. It follows straight on from the highest numbered original saint, 2998. That was Ernest Cunard. Well, right now I'm joined by Will Marsh. He's the mechanical team leader up here in Bridgnorth Loco Shed. And Will, you're going to be looking after Lady of Legend when it arrives here. What's going to happen? What's the first thing?
So basically the engine will arrive by road. It'll come on two low loaders, one for the loco, one for the tender. So we'll start by getting it off the lorry, make sure we can get it down safely, couple the loco to the tender, do a preliminary inspection of it. Then we'll probably have to bring it into the shed and check the weight distribution across all the axles, which is like a standard procedure. We do it with all of our own engines as well. Once we're happy with all that, we'll conduct a steam test to make sure everything on the loco complies with our safety management system, which is a really, can't be stressed how important that is for an engine to be safe whilst operating here, well I'm sure it will be. And then we'll steam test it. I mean, the big thing with Lady of Legend is it's never been anywhere. It hasn't been outside of Didcot. It's a new engine. It's only been on their short demonstration line, so we will be putting it through its paces. We'll get it on a test train to make sure that it'll perform on the day, which again I'm sure it will, because they've done a superb job of it at Didcot. So yeah, it would be that. Put it through its paces. Make sure prior to the end, make sure it's ready to pull passengers.
And of course, it's the only Saint in existence. And I know you've got a marvellous team here, but none of them can ever possibly have worked on a Saint before. So what's that going to be like?
It shouldn't be too different to what we're used to, because it was the precursor to halls and a lot of Great Western designs. That's why it was an important project, because it filled quite a large gap in preservation. So a lot of it will apply to the things we're used to. There'll obviously be some quite antiquated things on a Saint. So it will be very interesting. A lot of it will be used to, but there will certainly be new things as well. But I'm sure there'll be advice from Didcot if we need it.
Well, of course, you know all about overhauling and restoring steam locomotives, and I'm guessing you'll have quite an insight into exactly what's gone on to create this amazing locomotive, Lady of Legend. I mean, what do you think of the job that they've done?
Oh, it's incredible. As I said, and as Paul's mentioned, it fills a really important gap in preservation. You can't be stressed how challenging a project that would have been, and that really is a stunning job they've produced. They should be proud. It's a really important whole field in preservation.
Well, Will, thank you very much indeed, and thank you too for joining us for this live stream from Bridgnorth Locomotive Yard. The big announcement today has been the VIP Guest Locomotive for the SVR's Spring Steam Up. It's 29.99 Lady of Legend, and the Spring Steam Up is between the 15th and 18th of April. Lots of home locomotives are going to feature in it as well as Lady of Legend, so everything is COVID secured, of course. We've got private compartments and tables for you, and all the tickets are backed by a COVID guarantee. So all you need to do now is get over to svr.co.uk, book your tickets, because we can't wait to see you.